When was the last time you turned off your phone and left all your distractions behind and were alone with yourself? In today's world, information is available almost everywhere at any time, and content creators on TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram are trying to get your attention. There are millions of series, movies, and books that even if we live for 5,000 years, we still can't finish them all. There is almost no escape from this wheel full of information. Perhaps one of the reasons why this kind of information is so ubiquitous is that we think it's free, and that's why we're so eager to take advantage of this opportunity. But there's a quote that if a product is free, it means you're the product. Dr. Jordan Peterson says, before things in your life turn into a disaster, voluntarily face it. So let's see how today's media and perhaps policymakers are enslaving our minds. It is true that there is a lot of information in today's world, but is it really useful, all of it?
Hi, everyone. Welcome to a new video from the Polaris North Star channel. Your support helps a lot in the visibility of our content. When we are eating, we are watching videos. When we are studying, we have headphones and AirPods in our ears. When we clean the house, we are busy listening to podcasts. And even when we go to the bathroom, we take our phones with us. Our addiction to this space has become as if a train of information is going on, and we are all running lest we fall behind this huge flood of information at some point. This accumulation of information is so great that it does not allow us to think correctly or make the right decision in the important moments of life. The vital moments when we face the dilemma of choosing between necessary tasks and browsing Instagram. And you can guess what the decision is in these situations.
In fact, social media makes information so attractive that essential tasks are no longer visible and become worthless to us. That's why we prefer to sit and immerse ourselves in this fascinating atmosphere rather than do our boring and repetitive daily tasks. You may think that we are losing our creativity, but the reality is that we with these things do not give our minds the opportunity to engage with things. When was the last time your mind was involved in a beautiful and good idea? When was the last time you sat down seriously and thought about something?
In fact, when we immerse ourselves in our minds, creativity reaches its peak, but we do not allow our minds to think at all. While the elders, before they even looked for information, they were digging in that path and trying to solve that problem correctly with the tools they had. That's why someone like Leonardo da Vinci, the great genius of history, who some say was the smartest person in the world, used to stare at his painting for hours without doing the slightest thing.
When we don't do anything, it doesn't mean that our brains don't do anything. The brain always working hard to sort the information we've received in the right places. It is said that Einstein's genius began when he came out of school, when he could think deeply about the world without any external pressure. Albert Einstein used to walk throughout his life to clear his thoughts. When he was on a seafaring trip, he wrote to his friend that a voyage to the sea is a great opportunity to achieve maximum relaxation and to look at my ideas from a different perspective. This proves that Einstein understood the great importance of silence, and by doing so, allowed his mind to travel wherever it liked. This is something that most people may think of as useless, but the greatest people in history used it. The situation has become such that we feel that we are always falling behind in life. That is, if we do not get new information, we will feel very bad. This feeling also has a scientific backing in the sense of FOMO, that is, the fear of missing out. Many people are looking for fashion and new news just because they feel that if they don't know this information and others understand that person doesn't know this information, they feel left behind and they will feel a sense of failure. And unfortunately, this has become very contagious.
Dr. Jordan Peterson, like many other thinkers, believe that the fun wheels, which can be anything, will take us away from ourselves over time, and we will only get more involved in the margins and more thoughtlessness. We just have to be careful. As Einstein said, knowledge is different from information. And if at the very moment that we are wasting our time like this and enslaving our minds to the media, they ask us why we are doing this, we bring philosophical and very deep reasons and say that we see these news and these things so that our awareness will increase. While we are only putting useless information into our brains, and this brain is not going to tolerate this all the time, from some point onwards, its creativity will shut down, and over time, our memory will become weaker, angrier, and more bored.
Dr. Jordan Peterson says, if you can't understand why someone does something, look at the consequences of what they do, whatever it is, and then deduce their motivations. But the main argument is, what motivation can someone who spends 2 hours on Instagram Reels and doesn't have a bit of information added to them and just fills their brain? The problem is that today, with this method of mind control, have even taken away our motivation. You may say that we go to it for leisure and rest and such things, but dear friends, leisure time means peace and relaxation of the mind, and that you allow that to breathe, not that you put useless information inside it.
There is an interesting statistic that has been taken in the United States that says that people check their phones about 344 times a day. That is, every 4 minutes once, and a lot of times this simple message check goes into scrolling through Instagram and Telegram and other things. Nowadays, clinical psychologists encourage parents to give their children this space to reconcile with doing nothing. We see many parents buy a smartphone for their child because they don't have the patience for their child's excuses, while that parent does not know what he is doing with his child's mind. And this causes us to, as soon as we become unemployed, we go to virtual spaces and stifle our creativity within ourselves.
In fact, we need to understand that being bored and doing nothing is not a bad thing, but it makes our brains work more confidently and connect the dots. A useful exercise that you can use in your daily life to increase creativity is to close your eyes for 10 seconds for every 30 minutes of work, not thinking about anything, and then take a 5-minute break. What we mean by doing nothing is to cut off the notifications on your phone and put it aside. This Pomodoro method is very helpful for increasing efficiency and concentration. In fact, when you see how creative your mind can be when you're unemployed, you'll definitely be amazed. You may say to yourself, what can we do who were born in a distraction period and have a lot of troubles, stories, and margins? But let's look at this double-edged sword from another angle. In a world where everyone is on their phones and in cyberspace, the idea of success is much easier than in other times. That's because your competitors are busy with attractive and entertaining content, and this makes it easy for you to get ahead of your competitors. Dr. Jordan Peterson also has some wonderful sentences that are not bad to discuss here. The light you discover in your life is proportional to the amount of darkness you want to face openly. What makes people resilient is voluntarily exposing them to things that scare them. If you keep your commitments every day, you don't have to worry about the future. If you don't stand your ground, all that will happen is that people will push you back. Treat yourself like someone you are responsible for helping. Someone whose life has a why can endure almost any way. Compare yourself to who you were yesterday, not to who you are today. When you have something to say, silence is a lie.
How much of yourself have you ever spent on the development of others? Think about it, and if you would like to share your opinion on this topic with us. Thank you for being with us until the end of the video. If you liked this video, please like it and be sure to subscribe to the channel.
Thank you so much for always encouraging us. And finally, hello in the light of God's. Kindness shines brighter than ever.